Everyone, welcome back to our Nolty Lightning Talks. I'm Nelson Amaya, Solutions Architect at Nolty. Today, I'm going to talk about implementing a continuous integration and automated testing workflow with WordPress, Bitbucket, Pantheon, and Terminus. Basic terminology. Before talking about this implementation process, I want to go over some basic terms so we all, tech and non-tech people, can understand this process more clearly. So, continuous integration is the process of automating, testing, and merging of code changes into the main branch in very frequent and smaller batches, at least daily. With continuous integration, you define how your code is transformed into a working site, often living in a sandbox environment. Continuous integration also requires some level of testing to verify that the build process succeeded. So we also need to implement a test automation strategy. Now, what is automated testing or AT? It basically is to take advantage of automation tools that help to automate the tests and compare the results with the expected behavior, saving testing time and resources. WordPress. In a nutshell, WordPress is the world's most popular tool for creating websites. It's an open source content management system or CMS written in PHP and JavaScript driven interface using React for its block-based editor that is called Gutenberg. Currently, this is the tool we use the most at Nolty to build our marketing and content-rich websites. Bitbucket. It's a Git repository management solution which offers a central place to manage all your Git repositories and collaborate on your source code. It provides some awesome features like access control to restrict access to your source code, workflow control to enforce a project or team workflow, pull requests with inline commenting of collaboration or on code review, Jira integration for full development traceability, a full REST API to build custom features for your workflow if they are not already available from their marketplace. Currently, this is the tool we use at our Git repository management solution because of all of its great features and also the Jira integration. Both Bitbucket and Jira are tools from our partner Atlassian, which offers some other really great productivity tools. Now, going back to Bitbucket, for me, one of the coolest tools it offers is Bitbucket Pipelines, or just Pipelines, which is an integrated continuous integration, continuous delivery service, which allows you to automatically build, test, and even deploy your code based on a configuration file in your repository. Pantheon. It's one of the fastest and high-performance web apps platforms to host WordPress and Drupal websites. During all my time developing websites and testing multiple hosting providers, I consider Pantheon as the best platform I've worked with. Also, this is our current provider as our WordPress site infrastructure. Terminus. It's the Pantheon's command line interface. It provides advanced interaction with Pantheon, allowing you to do almost everything in a terminal that you can do in the dashboard and much more. I provide some useful links in this video description with more information about the previous terminology and tools so you can read more and learn about it. Now, why to implement a continuous integration and automated testing workflow within your company? We already identified some advantages of these workflows in the terminology defined previously, but this is a summary of the advantages or reasons why you should implement a continuous integration and automated testing workflow within your company. More frequent and smaller deployments, reducing the risk of complex or problematic integrations. Quicker releases, less bugs. Easier to fix issues, smaller number of changes to review. easier collaboration process by keeping developers' version of the code regularly synced with other team devs, speeding up overall development and testing time. Better testing processes, higher accuracy, increased coverage, enhanced resource efficiency, improved bug detection, and increased reusability, among others. So at the end, better and higher quality products is the same as happier customers. What to consider before implementing a CI and AT workflow? Planning. Planning is the most important step before implementing a CI and AT workflow. You'll need to consider many facts to define if this process and time investment is the right choice for your company. You'll need to define the impact of implementing it in your other project plans, limitations, advantages, disadvantages, etc. Knowledge. The knowledge is also really important. You'll have to consider that if you have never worked with an automated workflow and continuous integration, you'll need to learn a lot. You'll need to read some articles, talk with people or companies that have already implemented these processes, etc. This also will take some time to get to the point to start implementing it. Tooling. Well, tooling is another important factor to consider before implementing this workflow. There are some tools that are free, are open source, and you will be able to implement them, but they are not as complete as some other tools that are really, really great and really complete, but also really expensive. So you'll need to define all your tooling system before implementing this workflow. Automated testing cost. It may seem like automated testing is some kind of a panacea for all kind of projects, as it saves time and resources and is more reliable at a run. But you need to consider the initial cost of automation before switching to it, as usually you are required to set up the automation tools and write scripts, which in turn require resources and time. At first, the investment in in automated testing might seem costly, especially if you are a small company. But over time, the benefits of this implementation pay for itself by reducing the cost of code revisions and manually repeating tests. And finally, never give up. This is a hard process. This is not done from one day to another. But if you decide to start implementing it, never give up. You will get to the point where you can see the results. Tooling. Going back to the tooling, some of the most common CI tools are Circle CI, Jenkins, Travis CI, and Deploybot. From them, as far as I know, the ones that are open source or free are Jenkins and Travis CI. Circle CI is pretty expensive, but also it's really cool. And Deploybot is another tool that is really great. In fact, we are using this currently in our previous projects process for the continuous integration. But our challenge was to stop using Deploybot and start using this cool feature that Bitbucket offers us that is called pipelines. Because pipelines offers this continuous integration workflow that we need and that we are using currently for Deploybot. So as we are paying now for Bitbucket, why should we pay also for Deploybot if we can use pipelines? This is a new tool. Well, it is a recent tool. This is not older than, I don't know, 2 or 3 years as far as I know. So this is pretty new. And also, as we use Pantheon as our hosting server, then yeah, we are going to integrate all of them. We want to integrate all of them, and that's our challenge. Our final tooling. After following the previous steps of planning and doing all these steps to get to continuous integration and automated testing process, we defined some tooling for our workflow. For example, for development tools and frameworks, we use currently WordPress, as I said before. We use Tailwind as our CSS framework, Slint and Code Sniffer for our code linting. As our repository deployment and CI tools, we use Bitbucket and Bitbucket pipelines. For automated testing tools, our final tools currently are PHP Unit for unit testing, Cypress for our functional testing, and Backstop.js for our UI testing or visual regression testing. And finally, for hosting and deployment integrations, we use Pantheon and Terminus. This is our final process. This is still in process. Sometimes there are processes that will need some polishment and some additional work, but for now, this is how we are starting implementing this workflow. So first of all, the engineer create a branch from master branch, then develop the feature or fix, and push the code to Bitbucket. Once pushed, then Bitbucket automatically build our code, run the unit test, linting. Codacy, that is another tool we are using currently for linting and code quality. Then Bitbucket deployed to a multi-dev environment. That is another cool feature from Pantheon. With Pantheon, besides the development, testing, and production environments, you can create multi-dev environments that are something like development environments additional to the dev environment that will serve as these environments to deploy this continuous integration code or functionalities. Once this is deployed to multi-dev, we use Terminus commands to spin up multi-dev if it doesn't exist, and then clear cache. All of this implementation is done with an integration within Bitbucket, Terminus, and Pantheon. Once all this process have finished, then the engineer opens a PR to master, if not already. Then this PR needs some reviews. First of all, it needs a review from another engineer. This engineer will approve, but not merge yet. Once approved, we also need the QI lead or engineer also to review this PR. Then the QI will approve this PR, not merge yet. Then run functional testing on current feature. Then regression, ideally automatically, and some of them manually. Finally, approve QA. We have here some questions that I'll detail after this. Then the client will be able to review the feature fix in the multi-dev environment, and then will approve this feature fix. Once approved, the release manager will merge this PR to master. Bitbucket then will run build in the pipelines. This build will switch dev deploy mode to SFTP, that is another feature in Pantheon. Once these have been done, Bitbucket will deploy to the dev environment. Then we switch back to Git mode and clear dev caches. Then we promote to test environment and clear caches. After that, we delete the multi-dev environment. Then Bitbucket will delete the feature or fix branch. And finally, we run here some smoke tests after these final steps. When all of these changes or fixes or features have been merged to master, we have to run some manual steps inside Pantheon to deploy from dev environment to test environment, and then from test environment to live environment. And that's all our process. Some game rules. Each feature or fix is deployed when ready, not big bang deployments. Master is the only permanent branch. Remove develop. Previously we used a develop branch, so we remove this and we only have master and our feature or fix branches. No code must ever be left in dev or test. This blocks the road to deploy. Keeping the dev in Git mode will make it harder to accidentally push code to this environment. Dual approvals needed for PRs, code reviewer, and QA lead. Next steps or challenges. We need to think about notifications. Who gets notified of what and when? How to manage the QA client reviews, maybe with Jira. Complete some pending implementations and documentation. And migrate current projects from deploybot to Bitbucket pipelines and stop using deploybot. This is one of the hardest parts because we'll need to do a lot of manual adjustments within Bitbucket and Pantheon to achieve this. Finally, plan and implement it. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Thank you very much. I hope you have liked my video, and please feel free to leave some comments or questions in the description of this video. Thank you very much. Bye.